Yeah.
Like put it.
I'm going to call the meeting to order and start with roll call this evening. Mike Bollier. Michael Bollier. Rudy Del Fiore. Here. Kirsten Goldman.
Kirsten Erlinson, and over here.
Pam Farrington. Carrie Ferlino.
Carrie Fralino, Marlboro here.
Drew Golphin. Drew Golphin, Marlboro. Jessica Hall.
Jessica Hall, here.
Amy Romanchuk.
Amy Romanchuk.
Scott Soyette.
Scott Sawyer, hand over.
Summer.
Heather Summer, here.
Lisa Towdy. Brianna Adupoku. Yusuf Ahmed.
Yusuf.
And Avery Sorovia. Can you stand for the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. So we do have the elections that are going to be coming up, but we have a special treat before we have elections. I'd like to introduce Mr. Gokas, who was our teacher at the high school students, and we're fortunate enough to have him perform some music.
Thank you, Dr. Matthew. Thank you, everybody, for having us. I said I'm Nick Gokas, the patient band director, and I brought along three of my peer best senior instrumentalists to play some music for you tonight. The little bit of music makes the rest of your meeting flow nice and smooth. So I'll turn it over to them to introduce themselves and the music they have selected and prepared.
I'm Finn Blake. I play the baritone saxophone, which is the baritone voicing of the saxophone. It's an octave below the alto. And tonight we're going to start with Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Next one is Joyce the World. It's well and I play the Hi, I'm Gio. I play the clarinet, and for our last piece, we're going to play Jingle Bell Rock.
Thank you very much. If you'd like that, please come to our concert on Thursday night, 7 o'clock in the high school auditorium. Good luck with the rest of the meeting.
Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. So our next agenda item is the election of officers. We will elect board chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer, according to board policy 9130. We're going to first start off with opening up the floor for any nominations for the election of the board chair. Do we have any nominations for the board chair? Okay, so,
Second.
It's seconded by Scott. Are there any other nominations for board chair? Not hearing any. Is there any discussion? All right, so when we do these votes, they are roll call votes. So I'm just going to go through our list of members. Mike? Oh, yes, I'm sorry, just go either say yes. Ruby?
Yes.
Pam?
Yes.
Carrie?
Yes.
Golfin?
Yes.
Jessica Hall?
Yes.
Amy Rowanchuk?
Yes.
Scott Soliad?
Yes.
Heather Summer?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
All right, it is unanimous. We have a board chair. Meeting off.
Okay, so that brings us to vice chair. Do we have the,
Well,
so, I don't even remember what I asked for, C. So the role of the vice chair is to assume and carry out the duties and responsibility of the board chair in their absence. Are there any nominations for the position of vice chair?
I nominate you, Paul.
Is there a second?
I second.
Is that Kirsten? Second. All right. Any other nominations
I
for,
would like to nominate Mike Bollier.
I'll second.
and then Rudy seconded. All right, so we have Drew and Mike nominated. Is there any other nominations for vice chair? Not hearing any, so since we have two people who have been nominated for this position, board members will cast the voice vote for one of the nominees by naming the nominee of their choice or abstaining from the vote. The nominee with the majority of the votes is elected to the position. Any discussion on this?
You did it
I was
really
not.
well. Okay. Discussion on the nominee. Okay, so Mike Bollier. Rudy Del Fury. Kirsten Erlinson,
Drew Goffin.
Pam Barrington,
Can you repeat that?
Drew.
Drew? Yes.
Carrie Carlino,
Mike,
Drew Goffin,
True.
Jessica Hall, Drew. Amy Romanchuk, Scott Soyette,
True.
Heather Summer, Mike, and Lisa Chow. So, Drew carried that vote, so Drew will be the next, vice chair.
Again, working up this.
All right, so that brings us to the treasurer. The role of the board treasurer is to assume and carry out the duties and responsibility of the chair in their absence and in the absence of the vice chair. Do we have any nominations for the treasurer? I'd like to nominate Carrie Carlino.
Second.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I really can't.
No, I don't. I'm a registered rep for an investment firm. I'm the treasurer, I have to, the amount of stuff I have to.
Okay.
I withdraw. Yes.
Oh, my friend left.
But I appreciate it.
Any other nominations for treasurer? Okay. Okay, so we'll do the roll call vote. Mike Bollier,
What is it?
Oh, okay.
Rudy Del
One more person.
Kirsten Erlinson,
Yes.
Pam Barrington,
Stain.
She abstained.
Carrie Carlino,
yes.
Drew Goffin,
Yes.
Jessica Hall.
Yeah.
Amy Romanchuk,
Yes.
Scott Soyette,
Yes.
Heather Summer, yes, and Lisa Tout.
Yes.
Lisa T. Towdy. Oh, sorry.
Last name is. I get choked.
I got.
Just think of Rowdy Town.
All right, any discussion?
Just have-
Oh, we just did the vote, I'm sorry. So the election of secretary, the role of the board secretary is to assume, and carry out the duties and responsibilities of the chair in their absence, as well as in the absence of the vice chair and the treasurer. We have nominations for secretary.
Nominate.
I'd like to second. Any other nominations for secretary? Okay, any other discussion?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear who was nominated.
Amy,
Amy Robichuk. All right, Mike Bollier. Rudy Delafiore.
Yeah.
Kirsten Erlinson.
Yes.
Pam Farrington.
Yeah.
Carrie Farlina.
Yes.
Drew Goffin.
Yes.
Jessica Hall.
Yes.
Amy Romanchuk.
Yes.
Scott Soyet.
Yes.
Heather Summer, yes. Lisa Tabby.
Yes. Good job.
You don't want to last.
Yeah. I have a- Oh, yes.
Okay. All right, so that brings us to public comment. There's nothing else we have to do today. Questions?
Congratulations.
Hebron, Andover, and Marlboro, community engagement and attendance at BOE public meetings is welcome. Public comment segment of the meeting agenda is set aside so the BOE may receive public comments. Procedurally, public remarks will be limited to 3 minutes and citizens will be asked to identify themselves. Because the BOE is limited by the Freedom of Information Act to discussing only matters on the agenda, the BOE is not permitted to engage in a discussion of the comments presented. Do you have anybody here who'd like to make public comment?
Hello, called me Hebron. Again, my name is Hillary Kane and I represent the RHAM teachers as their union president. I want to welcome our new members to the Board of Education and our re-elected members. Thank you for coming back. I thank you all for volunteering your time and for your commitment to ensuring the needs of RHAM are effectively represented and acted upon. The REA has appreciated the support of the board over the years, most recently with our contract negotiations. As many of you know from your experiences as RHAM on the board or as a parent, or your own experiences as teachers perhaps, we have experienced thoughtful educators who believe in our school and in providing the best educational experiences for our students. For the highlighted programs we've seen, so many different talents that we have in our students that are supported by what we offer here. No matter what path the student chooses after high school, we have appropriate educational opportunities for them here at RHAM so that anyone will be successful post high school. I hope as budget season approaches that we can continue funding these educational opportunities for students. When I ask teachers what is going well at RHAM, they remark on the collaborative environment they work in and how generally it is a happy place to work. When I ask them what is difficult, what I hear most often is they are struggling with the ethical use of AI in the classroom. It's getting harder and harder to distinguish student work with AI, and we're looking for stronger policies. At the high school level mostly, cell phone use continues to be an issue with a need for stronger policies for student accountability. The REA continues to work with the administration to develop stronger policies around these issues, and I hope we have your support as well. Again, welcome to the new members, and thank you for dedicating your time, all of you, to ensuring RHAM has policies.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to make public comment?
Michael Cerusi, middle school principal. Just on behalf of the Administrative Association, we want to welcome new members and also welcome to our returning members. We look forward to working with all of you this coming year. Thank you.
Is there anybody online that wants to comment? Good. We need to add and delete any agenda items tonight. And that brings us to the student representative reports. You guys would like to go. Thank you.
So just it's gonna be hard for them to pick the up. Checked.
I forgot. You can be
Around this time for our students, we received an upcoming events. Last week, we had an event for our sophomores, which explore their options, starting resumes, tips and education partners. This week we have Spirit Week starting on Tuesday to next Tuesday, and we've got some evening events to talk to. Very good. It's all Thursdays, and we have also the Christmas carols. And we're finally starting our small.
Some of the other things that happened, through the DECA toy draft, was like organized by Operation Help. 100 toys collected and ended last Friday. So, also the NHS conducted, lots of students that got inducted. And finally the winter sports, it's starting to get, like include sports like basketball, track, wrestling, hockey, and swimming.
Over Thanksgiving break, 8th grade got a popcorn fundraiser for make Boston, which is in May. On Friday, the middle school raised $855 for CCMC, our pajama day. This week is the Spirit Week, which started Monday, and so the theme is tomorrow is Ugly Sweater Day. We also have like Christmas vacation, so we're like Hawaiian and stuff. The middle school raised $1,473.49 to distribute to Andover, Marlboro, Hebron food banks, which means $491 each town. We also are starting Spirit tickets, which are which is something like the middle school student council is doing to get students more active in Spirit Weeks. So they win a prize, like it's a raffle. So if you participate in like a Spirit Week, you get like a ticket and you get called at the end of the weekend. Magnet prize.
Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, that brings us to the board chair report. They spoke about the National Honor Society. I had the pleasure of doing remarks there. It was a great event. 50 students get inducted into the National Honor Society every year, which I think is a pretty impressive number. It was a very nice night. Some of us went to the Cape Caps conference right before Thanksgiving. Scott Soyette was there, Drew was there, Colin and I went. It's a series of sections. You get to pick your area of interest. I think we pretty much, for the most part, divided and we're in different sessions, but it's great to meet some of the other board members from other towns, hear what's going on. For me, I did the nutmeg, the nutmeg board of ed meeting, which is kind of this spoof that's done by a lawyer. Just a lot of fun, really kind of brings some of the issues that we're challenged with into focus, and where you can get into trouble and how you should be handling things. I was also told last week that some of the board members attended the Canadian board member orientation. All 3 of you. So thank you for that. That was really jumping in with both feet and getting that done. We really appreciate that. And finally, I just want to wish the administration happy holidays. Time well deserved off. To the end of the school, and we hope you have a beautiful break and come back rested and ready to go. Oh, yes, I'm supposed to talk about subcommittees. That's right. No. Yes. Thank you. Over the rest of this week, we would like everybody to kind of think about what subcommittees they would like to be on. So the committees are policy, program, communication and technology, negotiations, facilities, safety and transportation, and finance. So there's a total of 5 committees. We ask that you sign up for 2. If we end up with a committee that doesn't have any representation, doesn't have enough people, I will start calling and begging and asking folks to kind of switch committees. Student representatives, if you are interested in joining a committee and sitting in a committee, we'd love to have you. The only one that probably wouldn't be available to you would be the negotiations committee, but the rest of the committees, if you had an interest, we would love to have you join that. So if you just give it some thought, you can send me a note, text me. You can tell me tonight if you're so excited and you're ready to go and sign tonight. But we'd like to have this done before the end of the week, before the holidays, really, because we've got a program committee coming up.
We have finance and facilities and we have policy committee. Policy first, then finance facilities.
So, and Colin brings up something, finance and facilities, lots of people go together, just because they're so, tied with each other. So you may find that they may kind of blend them. Also, if we don't have anything that blend, say on a program communications subcommittee, we may cancel it. Once the committees are formed, the group themselves will decide who will chair that subcommittee. Okay. All right, so that will bring us to the superintendent report.
All right, and we have, Eric, thank you for solving our technological difficulties. We appreciate your due diligence getting that fixed. And thank you, Dr. Cerisi, you double very well as a technology aide, besides being a middle school principal. So thank you for that. So a lot of the things that I just had notes about were covered by our students. So I appreciate you guys doing that. I need to go in front of them so I can get some stuff out. But I just want to welcome and congratulate our new board members, Rudy, Lisa, Jessica. I had the opportunity to meet individually with each one of our board members, talk a little bit about what their interest in being on the board is, what they're looking to accomplish. And I just really appreciate you guys taking the time to meet with me. And you've got a lot of stuff going on in your lives. So, but I felt it was a really productive conversations. And obviously, congratulations to our newly elected board officers. I look forward to working closely with all of you. I'll just highlight a couple of things that I don't believe were mentioned. One of the things that was a really great thing that happened right before our Thanksgiving vacation is that our medical careers team at the high school hosted a blood drive where 96 pints of blood was collected for the American Red Cross, which is a huge accomplishment. We have students who donate. Many students donate for the first time at one of our blood drives. We have staff members donating, and then members of the community are also able to come in and donate. So we appreciate Kathy Green's efforts to do her 3 blood drives that she does every year. It obviously does a huge, makes a really positive impact on our communities around us. And I guess the only thing I'll say is we do have the winter concert coming up on Thursday night. I know Mr. Kokas mentioned it, and a couple of other students. If you've never had a chance to come to one of our concerts, the concerts will highlight the skills and talents of both middle school and high school musicians. I know Drew will probably be there with his music shirt, or hope to see you there. Drew came and won a prize once, so you never know what you can get when you come to a concert. And I am very excited that we do have our winter vacation coming up, as one of our students mentioned. We're all excited to get some well-deserved downtime. I know teachers and staff are definitely ready for some downtime, and I can certainly say that I am looking for that as well. So about a week and a half until we are there. And that concludes my report.
So that will bring us to item 10 is the consent agenda. You want to?
Yeah, so there are meeting minutes from a few meetings that we've had that would be approved as a part of the consent agenda. And then we also would be approving policies for revision or deletion. The 4 policies came as a first read to the board at our last meeting. And there was no questions, comments, or concerns with any of the language, with the policy language. And so my recommendation is to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
That was Drew Golphin.
I'll second.
Mike Bullier. Any other discussion on that? Okay, all in favor? Okay.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay. That brings us to new and unfinished business.
So we just have a few things to go over with new and unfinished business. The first one is the review and approval of the 2026-2027 school year calendar. It is enclosure 11.1 in your board packet. So I worked with the other superintendents in the region to work on developing the calendar. We follow a pretty standard formula for putting it together. The only difference between next year's calendar and really what we typically see is actually we're going to actually have a full week of school prior to Labor Day. So typically we start, but just the way that Labor Day is a little later this year, a later start this year is that we're going to actually have the 2 days on Thursday and Friday with students returning on the 27th. And then we have a full week of school the following that and then get into Labor Day. There is a difference with Hebron Elementary School. That's the one district that I'm aware of that's doing a different start time, but that's due to some construction work that they're going to be anticipating happening to their schools. So they're actually starting about a week after we are starting. But other than that, it's a fairly standard calendar that we've been following the same way of putting it together over the past several years. I can certainly entertain any questions, and if there are not any questions, I would recommend that the board approve the calendar as presented.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the 2026 BOE school year calendar?
So moved.
Scott Soyette, first, second. Amy Romanchuk is second. Any other discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Thank you.
All right, the next item for new and unfinished business is enclosure 11.2, which is the Board of Education meeting dates. So what we do for our board policy is during the December meeting, we actually set the board meeting dates for the upcoming year. And then we always establish it for the following January as well. So we know that when we have the January one in 2027. Again, we're following the typical process that we use, which is the third Monday of each month. There are some Mondays where that does not work. For instance, having the meeting on January 26th, provides us the additional time that we need to actually get the budget put together, because the Monday before that is actually Martin Luther King's birthday. So we can't have a meeting on that date. So it's better to move it and give us that additional time to get the budget put together. And again, if you just go down through each month, you'll see when we've identified the dates for our different meetings. If I can answer any questions, I will certainly do my best to do that. For new board members, if you know that you have a conflict and you can't attend a certain meeting, that's fine. We typically don't move a meeting date just based off of one board member's availability. As long as we have a quorum, we're good to go with meetings. But again, if there are no questions or concerns with the calendar for board meetings, then my recommendation would be to approve it as presented.
We have a motion to approve the 2026 BOE meeting dates. Jessica Hall, second. Amy Romanchuk. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone?
Aye.
Anyone abstain? Thank you. All right, the overview of items likely to impact the 2026-2027 budget.
There's going to be extra, Mary Rose, there's going to be extra coming down if you want to grab any extras just to make them available for people who are here and would like a copy of the PowerPoint. Thank you. Thank you. We'll make sure that this is made available on our website tomorrow. So if we don't have enough copies to give to everybody in the audience, again, they will be put up. And board members who are attending from home, I'll make sure that I email this document to you as well tomorrow morning. So in accordance with board policy 3110, at the meeting that is prior to our January meeting, when I present the the proposed budget, is at this meeting we are supposed to discuss any new or major items to be considered in the proposed budget. We also talk about factors that are impacting the budget, and basically that's the purpose of this presentation that we go over with you today. So new board members, just so you know, I don't get into a lot of detail. The budget actually is still being developed, so I don't have a number to give. Eva is working with her team to develop the budget and put it together. But I'll go through the process that we've utilized so far and where we are now in the process. If we go to slide 3, the priorities in budget planning, I always like to review these to support the implementation of the goals identified in the district's strategic plan, the board's strategic plan, which those 4 areas. We have goals in the areas of instruction, talent management, culture, climate, and organizational systems. Certainly a priority is to support both the academic and social and emotional learning needs of students, to maintain a program of studies with a wide variety of course offerings and career pathways that ensure graduates are college and career ready upon graduation. And certainly we're always working to improve or maintain our facilities and grounds. The next slide. So one of the things that I always do when I present is talk about our enrollment projections. So last year we had on October 1st, and for those of you that again might not know this, our October 1 enrollment is what we use as kind of like the number moving forward for the rest of the year. It's when we report our enrollment to the state. So even though our enrollment might fluctuate throughout the remainder of the school year, we always utilize the October 1 enrollment numbers when doing things like determining the town levies and looking ahead as well. So last year we had 1,078 students across the district. This year on October 1st, we had 1,021 students enrolled. And you'll note that asterisk indicates that it does not include the 11 tuition students that we have through the new partnership with Columbia Public Schools. Those numbers are exclusively students that reside in Andover, Hebron, or Marlborough. The reason that we have the 2 postgraduate students is that the school district is required to provide educational programming and a transition program for students between 18 who are graduates of high school up to age 22. And this is a new way that we're reporting information to the state, which is why it didn't exist in last year's report. So we have a couple of students here at RHAM who are technically high school graduates, but again, still getting an education through us as they work to transition into adulthood. And again, the breakdown by sending town for the budget has shifted again. It's trended in this direction for a while. We've seen an increase in the percentage from Hebron, and we've seen decreases in percentages from Andover and Marlborough, and that trend has continued. And then you could also see what our enrollment projections based off of the chart. I'd encourage people to look at the column with that has been highlighted in yellow that shows basically the projections have changed. Initially, over the past couple of years, we've been projected to increase our enrollment by about 200 students over the next 10 years. And you can see, obviously, that is not what the current projections are. When I reached out to the demographers who work on putting the projections together for us, basically the answer that I was met with, I said, talk to me a little bit about the shift. Why are we seeing a shift and a change in enrollment? And essentially what they said to me was not very reassuring, but essentially it was, well, our enrollment projections are for about 5 years out have a high degree of reliability, which actually is the case if you compare the projections from last year to these projections. But beyond 5 years, they're talking about they become less and less reliable, and they adjust those projections based off of new information that they get each year. So as you can see, our enrollment is projected. I would just say it's projected to remain relatively steady. I think that the one thing that is going to impact the numbers is, again, the projections are only inclusive of students from Andover, Hebron, and Marlborough. It is not inclusive of students from Columbia. And obviously, the hope is that as we continue to grow and develop the relationship and partnership that we have now with Columbia Public Schools, is that we see more students choosing RHAM as their high school of choice. Go to slide 5. Just goes over the budget timeline to date. So back, believe it or not, we are very early in the school year when we start to work on developing next year's budget. So Eva meets with, attends a FACT meeting, which is department coordinators and administrators. She distributes the budget manual and guide at a meeting and reviews the process that's going to be used in developing the budget. The budget, those people, I call them budget owners. And then for a period of about a month, the budget owners work to put together their specific budget for their specific department. And then Eva and myself, building administration, meet with all of the department coordinators to review the department budget and discuss individual department needs. And then during that same window of time, Eva and I meet with different budget owners, such as the athletic director, director of pupil services, facilities director, and director of technology communication, and as well as the director of curriculum and instruction, to review their specific department budgets, needs as well. And then we work to update the personnel budget, and that is an ongoing process. And then finally, we are where we are right now, which is our meeting in December. We go to the next slide, slide 6. Factors, I always like to discuss factors that we are experiencing or expecting to have an influence on our budget for next year. Inflation is certainly going to have an impact, as it has over the past several years. So we're seeing an increased cost for goods, materials, and services. We're seeing an anticipated increase for utility costs. Once again, we're expecting a decrease in excess cost funding. And excess cost funding is essentially funding that comes from the state for high cost special education services that we provide to students. So if we have to reach a certain threshold for a cost who are special education students, we do get money back from the state for those additional costs. Another factor that's influencing the budget is there's a minimal debt payment increase that was for our campus renovation, or the bonding that was done approximately 20 years ago. We've had years where the bonding payment, the debt service payment, has decreased by fairly substantial amounts. A couple of years ago, there was a $600,000 decrease in our bond payment. It's pretty steady from last year to this year, and it remains steady for next year as well. The good news is it is our last year of paying on that debt service. And as I've discussed with the board already at an earlier meeting, we see this as an opportunity to look to, potentially go through the referendum process and bond out some projects that we need to take care of to maintain our facilities and grounds in a manner which really keeps things going the way they should be going. Health insurance premium costs are currently is a key word, budgeted for a 15% increase, which is approximately $630,000. The reason I say currently is because we meet on a monthly basis. Even we'll have a meeting before our January to establish that there could be a reduction to what the percentage increase is. When we first started to look at costs for next year, it was 16.5% was the anticipated projection. The anticipated increase for next year, and we decreased it to 15%. And obviously, we hope that the trend is, as that we get more data about claims, that we are able to make minor adjustments moving down, so that our percentage increase is not as high as what it currently is budgeted for, 15%. That's what we've historically done, and we're hoping that obviously that continues. But again, that will change over time. Contractual increases are certainly factors, is a factor influencing the budget. This this board knows that I've advocated very much for making sure that our wages and benefits for our employees are competitive. We want to make sure that we are a desirable district to work in. We are at a time where there is a shortage of teachers, there is a shortage of paraeducators, there's a shortage of just about everybody that works in school districts. And certainly not being competitive in our general area is something that can negatively impact our ability to attract and retain staff. And this board, the board that I've worked with over the past 3 years, has responded wonderfully, and I appreciate that. And as Ms. Kate mentioned when she spoke at public comment, the employees appreciate the efforts that we've made to make market adjustments. We still could make work in that area, and I know that this board has heard me say that in the past, that we still need to continue to make sure that we remain competitive, because we know that other districts are doing their best to make sure that they are competitive as well. And the last thing that I just indicated as far as a factor influencing our budget is the Columbia partnership. So the revenue that we anticipate for this year from the Columbia partnership is $184,000. The base tuition price is about $154,000, and then there's an additional $30,000 for special education costs and related services. And again, that was with 10 students from Columbia. We obviously hope to grow that partnership over time. We have recently sent out a survey to Columbia families who did choose RHAM as their high school of choice for this year to get their feedback. And the feedback that we've gotten is very positive. The responses that I've seen describe a very positive experience for their children, a very positive experience for their family. Again, it's information that I will certainly share with the board when I've gotten it all in. But again, we're excited about the partnership, and as it grows over time, obviously the revenue that we get from Columbia tuition will hopefully obviously increase as well. So it's all good stuff. If we go to the next slide, please, slide 7. So just some anticipated program changes from our current year to next year. There are going to be 5 new classes that we offer in the RHAM High School Program of Studies, or Educational Opportunities Handbook. The program subcommittee heard about these classes about a month ago when we had our last meeting. A firefighter course, which is going to be great. It's going to be part of our Public Safety Academy. And coincide really well with the EMT class that is already being offered. We are looking to offer AP Business Principles, AP Cybersecurity, Introduction to Marine Science, and Music Sampler. And Music Sampler basically is a class that they're going to try to design that would be an attractive option for students who maybe aren't going the traditional music route as far as being the band or being a chorus, but just exposing them to different genres of music and different types of music. So again, we have a really strong fine and performing arts program. And again, this is for kids who might not just be part of that traditional kids who want to be a band or chorus. The other thing that I'll mention, it's not on here because it's not new, but we're excited to be able to reintroduce our foods classes, starting, I think we'll start with Foods 1 next year. Yes, food and nutrition. So in order to teach that class, you have to have a very specific certification from the state of Connecticut. And quite simply, we haven't had anybody for the past several years who's held that certification. But we have a current staff member who works to get cross-certified so that they can teach that class, and we can reintroduce it into our program of studies. And it's great. It's a great opportunity for us to be able to do that. So again, very excited because I vividly remember taking those classes in high school, and they have paid dividends down the line that I can fend for myself if I need it. The next slide, Eric, please, is anticipated personnel changes from the current year to next year. So one of the positions that we are looking to build into our budget is an addition of an instructional technology integration specialist / coach. This would be a teaching position, and it actually is. I'm really glad that Ms. Kane said what she did in public comment, where she talked about the challenges associated with the implementation and use of AI in schools. I concur with what she said. We certainly are having conversations about that and trying to figure out, what policy changes are going to be put into place. But one thing that we know is definitely missing is a staff member who is really focused in on working with staff across the district in the use of and integration of technology in the educational program. There's really not too many times, not too many moments in a day that students aren't engaging in some way, shape, or form with technology. And just as I'm assuming people who are in the workforce, you're engaging with technology as well. And we had a position that was instructional technology integration specialist. That position actually then kind of fell into the lap of the person who was our library media specialist for a number of years. And when that person left the district, it was a position that we didn't replace, but it is a void that currently exists. And I'm excited about bringing that position back into the district. It would be, again, a teaching position. It would fall under the teachers bargaining unit. So it would be following the teacher schedule with likely some additional days built in as well during the summer. And the second one is an addition of a second outdoor grounds maintainer. Currently, the district has one outdoor maintainer who really manages and oversees a lot of work that is done outside on our grounds. And it is, I will just simply say, it is a lot of work that goes into maintaining our grounds when it comes to mowing, when it comes to caring for our athletic fields and the lining that needs to be done. It is a huge undertaking, and we've taken on more responsibility over the past couple of years where the town had some work that was done. I think it was Parks and Rec had some work that was done. And as they've had personnel changes in those departments, we've absorbed the workload. And the town has still been a great partner to us. But again, that need is one that exists because if we only have one person in that position and that person is absent for a period of time, we've incurred significant additional costs because we have to actually then contract out somebody to do that work for us. So really having the capacity in-house to get the work done that needs to be done. And obviously, it enables us to make sure that all of our needs are going to be covered no matter what our personnel challenges might be.
Do we plow ourselves or we contract?
We do not. We contract with EA Quinn. So we contract with EA Quinn for a lot of the grounds work, but a lot of the mowing is done by our outdoor maintainer. Like I said, the lining of the fields, our outdoor maintainer does things like they'll drop trees for us in some situations, not all the time. Sometimes they're too big and they don't do that, but they've done a significant amount of work and continue to do so. If we go to slide 9, please. So just a brief overview of the capital budget. So we've always tried to keep our capital budget for the past several years right around the $500,000 mark. And last year was not an exception to that. It was, we were a little above that at $565,000. Our capital budget last year addressed sidewalk repairs to the tune of $40,000. That has been a part of our capital budget for the past several years because we are constantly having to just address sidewalk, cracks and crumbling and whatnot. And really it's essentially one of those, that's an ongoing maintenance issue that we need to really keep in the capital budget. And then last year, obviously, the track replacement was a significant project. The total cost of the track project was $1,585,000, and $525,000 of that came from our CIP budget. The remaining balance of that came from our reserve fund that we had monies available for that. And we've historically used the reserve fund to address significant needs that we have with athletic fields and areas. And again, the track project was a big undertaking, but we're glad to have that done. We have anticipated to include at least 2 things in our capital budget for next year. But again, we will have a finance and facility subcommittee meeting. I think it is January 13th when we return to finalize our capital budget. The loading dock replacement is one that I brought to the board's attention. Our loading dock simply just, it needs replaced. It's in rough shape. I shared pictures with board members last year. For new board members, I can certainly share those pictures with you guys to show you what it looks like, but it's in rough shape. The cost for that project is being finalized. We're working with a vendor to get an approximate cost for that. And then obviously, as I said, the ongoing work to the sidewalk, we anticipate needing that to continue as well. So to the tune of $40,000. We currently have in capital unallocated, or we will have, I should say, is about $40,000. That money is remaining from the track project, which was completed, and we just simply need to move the funds from the track project into CIP unallocated, and that'll happen at an upcoming board meeting. And we do have approximately $100,000 available in that reserve fund that I talked about earlier. So the reserve fund is, we as a regional school district can maintain up to 2% of the total budget if that money exists at the end of the year after our audit's been completed. And we've done a lot of good work, again, related to the athletic fields and track. Using that money, we were able to build that money up over time in the reserve fund. And again, as I said, we used about $1 million to pay for from that fund to pay for the track. We currently have about $100,000. That money is currently invested in our short-term investment fund. And we will know if we have any surplus funds left over from last year, we'll know that dollar amount after the audit is completed in February. As I said earlier, we can use and maintain and keep up to 2% of that last year's budget, which would be in total, if the money is available, it could be up to $640,000. It can be allocated towards that reserve fund. And again, the audit will be presented to the board in February, and we'll know how much money, if any, we have for that reserve fund. Moving on to the next slide, budget timeline. These are some next steps. As I said, we have a facilities and finance subcommittee meeting to finalize the capital budget. It says 12/13. That doesn't make sense. That's 1/13. My apologies. We have a presentation. I will present the budget, the proposed administrative budget to the board on the 26th of January. We're going to have budget workshops scheduled for the 28th. So we'll make sure that we get invitations sent out, but we're looking at doing budget workshops on the 28th and January 9th. And we do have an extra or alternative date of February 12th, if it is necessary, whether it's just more conversation needs to happen, or if we end up having a snow day on one of the days that it's currently scheduled. We have another board meeting on the 23rd of February, where obviously we'll have ongoing budget discussions. And then I currently have 2 dates scheduled for town budget workshops where I will go and present to the boards of finance and or boards of selectmen in our 3 sending towns. Marlborough is scheduled right now for the 25th of February. Hebron is tentatively scheduled for the 17th of March, and Andover has not yet been determined. They're having some changes right now with regards to their leadership, so I'm sure that we will get that scheduled, and I'll let people know about it as soon as possible. We have a public budget hearing and special board meeting to set the budget amount to referendum on the 6th. And then we have our annual budget meeting on May 4th. And finally, the budget referendum will take place on May 5th. And that concludes my presentation. I can certainly take any questions if anybody has.
So, in a recently concluded legislative session, I thought I had heard what was going on, but I thought I heard there was some additional funding for special education that was allocated to that.
So we discussed that last week.
But we're not
Our
getting
last
any.
meeting, and we're unfortunately not getting any of the regional school districts.
Oh, this was separate from that issue.
Oh, there is something new coming down the pike, but don't know when that is coming.
Okay.
What is really
All right,
happening.
but you're aware
Yeah.
there is something, okay.
Yeah.
But it will be for the next school year, right?
Hopefully,
Yeah.
passes through, the legislative body.
Okay. Well, I thought there was something that was already recently signed for the next school year. Did I not?
we can look into it. And
Yeah.
So I was just curious if you had heard of it. Okay, maybe I misunderstood.
I know
It's
it's starting
entirely possible.
session, maybe it's short session, so maybe it's just that they're gonna talk about it as opposed to that it's signed, but.
Does anybody online have any questions for Colin in the budget? Okay, Scott?
More of a offer of help if you need to talk to Andover folks, because you know we're in disarray right now between town administrator resigning and a temporary one in place right now. But we have a new board of finance chair who I'm close to him.
Great. I'll talk with you offline. That'd be great. Appreciate that.
Any other comments? Okay, that brings us to the personnel report. It's enclosure 11.4.
So, in your packet is 11.4, and there is just one retirement. Happy to announce for Mr. Landry, who is a business teacher at RHAM High School, is going to retire effective at the end of the current school year. He's been employed by the district since 2000, so he's had a great run, and we're excited. I've spoken to Tim and congratulated him, and he's excited to move on to the next phase of his life. So, good news for him.
Right. And that brings us to financials.
Excuse me. All right, so enclosure in your handbook, 11.5A, you have, I am projecting for the end of November 30th, a net favorable position of $235,295. Again, we realized some savings from the magnet and agri-science school tuition. It's the majority of that. Our track replacement project has now been fully completed and paid for. The reserve for educational fund is still, has not closed out. The ADA compliance project, we just had some work that was finalized last week, if I'm not mistaken. So most likely that will be finalized at the next board meeting. The Pupil Services Department, again, is monitoring their students, and as IEPs change directions for the students, encumbrances are changed accordingly to ensure that we are tracking them and the money that is used to spend on them. Are there any questions that I may answer? So I have a few from Mr. Soyet, if no one else has any. So Mr. Soyet had a question regarding miscellaneous revenue and what sort of things are included in there. So I just pulled out a few of them. So we collect student obligations, so that may be debt from last school year that students owe. If we have FOIA, Freedom of Information requests that people pay us, that goes in there. We have CIRMA. Our CIRMA is the Connecticut the member association. It's our insurance company, so to speak, but it's a member-based insurance company. So we're a member, so we get an equity distribution. Usually that is an annual process, but I want to say a couple of years ago, we didn't get any. We do sell scrap metal. So if chairs or tables are broken, we save the metal, throw away the other components and sell scrap. So it's just little pieces that get thrown in. So that was a revenue question. There was a question in regards to grants. So yes, grants are totally separate. It's a total separate fund. So revenue and expenditures for grants are tracked separately. They are not allowed to be commingled with your operating. And we just talk about operating here. The advisors get paid in January and June, whereas coaches get paid after each season that they stop working, so they get paid at the end of it. And that, for the most part, are the questions that you've had asked. Oh, yes, wait, there is one more. Unallocated personnel. Excuse me. Unallocated personnel is a line that we track salaries and or benefits that are savings. So anytime there's an enrollment change, so there might be a life event, a person may have left who cost us more money. If there's savings, we roll it into that account if we know it's freed up. So if person resigns and we hire a person at a lower dollar amount, the difference gets put into that.
That was kind of what I guessed, but I wasn't sure about.
Yeah, it's just somewhere it's easier to identify there and just easier to track.
About grants, should we see them on occasion as a board? Should we see You know, we don't need them every month, but occasionally see what we're spending money on, what we're getting and what we're spending it on. Feels like we should.
Yeah, I mean, if,
On an annual, grants come in just annually, or do they come in throughout the year?
So they're annual renewals. Most of our grants, so we have consolidated, which is a 2-year grant. Adult Ed is a 1-year grant. Perkins is a 1-year grant. IDA is a carryover, so it's 2 years. Our HVAC, that's just ongoing because it was reimbursed to us. That was Title 5 or Title 4. That's it's a carryover, so it's a 2-year grant.
So can it be shown as an attachment when we're doing the budget process?
Well, it is. It's in the budget. They're in the budget binder.
Budget binder.
The request I made, which may be sort of in line with what you're getting at, Scott, is the grants are listed, but exactly how we spend them, the intention of the grants there. So there is some information, but exactly how we spend them isn't there as well, right? So it doesn't look like it's balanced, like there is a revenue and an expense, sort of, if you will. And so I know I had asked about getting a little more detail around that in the budget book for this year.
Yeah, and
that might
the budget
satisfy
booklet is maybe that's enough. Just to have everything in there. But I just realized that I'm looking at this, I'm like, wait, there's grants too, and they're nowhere in here. And of course they're not, because you don't want to intermingle them because they are supplement, not supplant kind of grants. I think for most
and their use is bespoke to the particular cost of those items, right? So
yeah, I mean, they're very prescriptive as far as what you can use the funds for. So, you know, in some cases, money can only be used for, you know, professional development. In some cases, it can be used for, you know, the IDEA grant has a degree of flexibility of how you can use it. But I can certainly include in the budget book, like just a very brief bulleted lines that say, here's what we are budgeting the money for.
I think that would be useful. I was just realizing I didn't see it and didn't know how often we should see it. But I feel like we should at least at some. So the budget book sounds like a good place for it.
Does the tuition public service line include for special ed as well, not just that?
Correct.
Yes. Okay.
Sorry.
I didn't hear the answer.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Includes.
But most of this savings is in VOTEC. That's what I thought I
I'm
heard you
going
say.
to say yes to that because yes, we're watching special ed costs at the moment. So
The last thing I had in mind was a suggestion that maybe we could. I have a hell of a time going through the budget. Yeah, this document every month because there's so much stuff in there and I don't know what to look at. I'm wondering if we could get a summary at the object level. Maybe we still get the detail, but just here's the object level things. I know the lines are in there, but they're intermingled. They're hard to see. They're hard to distinguish. It seems silly to have another document, but I'm just wondering if that's something the software generates easily if you wanted it to.
So basically what you receive is what the software generates. That's as summarized as again.
And even I, based off of your email, had some conversation about this. I think the concern with taking the data as the system spits it out and basically moving it around and manipulating it is the potential for errors to take place, right? Like that.
Oh, yeah.
That's something that, the more you manipulate data, the more that's being spit out by a program. We're concerned about that. And again, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, this is how we're presenting the information for how it spits it out and how.
Right. I mean, can I call and see if there's a tighter summary, I suppose, but the way when we set it up was the way that they basically, they created this report to try to get it as summarized in the way that we want.
I do find that it's very hard to get through and because there's a lot.
It's a lot.
And if they can't supply that, I wouldn't suggest we try to extract it and do something ourselves. But if they could, if they did have a report that just said, here's object 111, here's object 112, here's object 115. Here's, the same numbers that we've got in this document, just reduced. And I did this myself manually from the PDF, but it was, I probably made a mistake in doing it in my my quick thing there. And anything we did manually would be ugly, but if they generated something,
Well, so that's basically what the Excel spreadsheet is that I do my projection on. So that's basically the same information that you're looking for in a tighter object.
okay.
That helps.
So is that at what level? Is it in the packet already?
In the packet, it's the second page after the memo.
Yeah, and that's a nice one too. I was looking for one in between, where if you go down here, there's a summary at the object 110, and then further down, there's a summary at object 111. Further down, there's a.
It's because the accounts are in there and they summarize the accounts, so they don't have it where we can. So again, like I said, they helped create this as it is, and they helped the Excel spreadsheet to be created that way. So I'm not sure if there's something that they have that they can do, but they are limited in that regard.
Right, yeah. If they don't have it, I don't think we want to pursue it. But if they have it, I just don't know, what reports they offer. I mean,
We have to create them. So, yeah, so I basically have to create reports. And so like your CIP or your reserve fund, because they're smaller in stature, meaning account wise, that's why you don't see as much in that regard. But because your operating has so many accounts, that's what you're getting is that is the summary of it. So they lump all the 100s together, all the 200s together, so that.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I would love to see another thing, but if they don't have it, they don't have it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can reach out to them and see if there's a way to try to get something, but if there is not, then.
I love the first summary, the hundreds, 200s level, but there's a level in between that and the details that we get, which I know is already a summary. And I understand that's not, line by line of every expense, but there's a level in between, I think. So with the 3 year, I've been playing the new guy card for 2 years. I can't really do it anymore, but I sometimes get to be a pain in your neck.
You keep us on our toes.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
Meaning anything not from Scott.
Hearing none, we'll go to enclosure 11.5B, which is the food service monthly sales and expenditures.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I did have a question between
Go ahead.
food services. So on the capital improvement budget, so it's way at the end of all that stuff, but in between. So where the CIP unallocated from the track, can I see that somewhere in here?
Well, you can see. So the director of facilities tracks it by project. I track it by account code structure.
Okay.
So that's the other limitation that we have. But for the most part, track was, so you're looking at your BOE capital improvement sheet in the account 109-582620-7300-340,
Yep.
which is CIP, system-wide maintenance, other professional technical services.
So that's 38,190. So it's close to your.
I don't understand the question, I'm sorry.
So the budget balance there, which I take to be what's sort of left over, is the 38.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
that's close to your 39 something. That you have. Oh, that on this.
Oh, yeah. So
Colin did this
yeah,
one, so I don't
yeah.
trust it. No.
Doing in consultation.
Yeah, so close to not 100% apparently.
So and the other 9,000, is that also an excess from something else that we?
So that's a transfer that's going to be coming up. So during the audit process, we had to do an audit adjustment.
Right.
So they took an expenditure that was budgeted for this fiscal year and they pushed it back to last fiscal year because the work in the invoice was dated June 30th. So the auditors perceived it as the work got done in last fiscal year. So it had to come out of last fiscal year.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, that's coming up.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, all right, thank you. That was my question.
Okay, so now on to food service, right? Okay.
Sorry about
Yeah, you're good. So food service, at the moment, we have a net loss of $78,964.87. I work with the management for the food service management company to ensure that we're doing our best to keep our expenditures at bay where we can. Food service costs, as everyone knows, have hit us hard. So schools are not exempt from that, unfortunately. We do get grants where we can get grants, so we have local food. Yeah, it stands for school partnerships. So it's bringing local farmers. So it brings local food from farmers into the schools. So we have about $10,555 there about that we are buying lots of beef. So we used up all that money for beef. So that's something that we just ordered and got delivered today, and we're going to order again and get delivered next week. And so that's for both the elementary school and for RHAM, that we're going to have a local farmer. And I forget the local farmer's name, so I can't help by answering that question. So keep your best, but I can find it out for you guys. Cold Springs is the produce. I forget what the local farmer's name is. So we're trying to find creative ways to reduce costs where we can. We're trying to increase participation. We're trying to get kids and or staff excited to try the food and enjoy their meals here at RHAM. So are there any questions that I might be able to answer?
Do you anticipate that rate to stay for the rest of the school year?
What do you mean the rate, the decrease?
Yeah, we're
Yes.
already at 78.9
Yeah, so we're gonna be,
in November.
we're gonna have to be dipping into operating to pay.
Well, there's a big drop in revenue in November. So what happens in
So-
December relative to revenue?
So again, it depends on participation and people wanting to eat and or people wanting to put money on their accounts. So all of that fun jazz. But yeah, we had a shorter month because of the holiday. December will be the same. So that you're right the wave, so to speak.
Are you getting a sense that the students like the new food service program?
I'm not 100% there yet.
Okay.
They have their pluses. I'll give them that. I'm just not 100% sure that the consistency.
We had at the Cape conference, the number of trying to use their food services.
All right. Are there any additional questions on food service? Okay, so hearing none. 11.5C is the RHAM High School and Middle School Student Activity Report. This is basically for the new folks in town, informational report for the board, because all the funds here are collected through fundraising efforts, and they are to directly benefit the students, and the students direct, so to speak, through their clubs or organizations, how they would like to spend the money and what the money is spent. And those totals balance out with our bank. Are there any questions that the board may have? Hearing none. 11.5D is the STIP account. So this is the short-term investment fund account that we have set up. So we had lots of money in there, but we had to take money out to pay for the track. But while we had money in there, we were earning lots. This month we reinvested $674.68. Are there any questions that the board may have on that? Thank you. 11.5, the CIP budget appropriation transfer that will require board action. So as I stated earlier, we had to do an audit adjustment to take an expenditure that was earmarked for this fiscal year and put it back into last fiscal year. Unfortunately, it created a shortfall in the account, so we have to make the account whole. And that's what this budget appropriation transfer is for. And I'm happy to answer any questions that the board may have on that. If not, it would be lovely to have a recommendation to approve the transfer.
So this is from the track for this year to the maintenance for last year? Or is it the other way around?
No, so this, I'm taking it from the track line because there's money available to put into the, where the sidewalks would have been. So. if you want
It's all the same, they're both the same account. So, I'm sorry, okay, so you're taking it from,
Oh, did I do it? Oh, my bad.
well, they're both, yeah, they both, oh no,
Oh,
it's
no, no,
430340.
yes,
I'm dyslexic. So I'm dyslexic,
Yeah.
so I got a card, free me on that one. So, right, okay, so you're taking it out of
So I am,
this year's
Correct.
340.
so it's staying, so all this money is staying in this year's. It's not, the expenditure was pushed back, and because the expenditure was pushed back, the system-wide repair and maintenance account became in the hole, became in the
Last year.
last year. So we ended it, but because it ended, that last year's ended, I can't do anything there. So I have to roll the negative forward, which we did. And now I have a hole in this year, and now I need to fix it. And
Oh, okay, so that's the part I didn't get. So for the auditing, the auditors just go, oh, and the negative from last year goes away. But we stick it in
Correct.
this year,
Correct.
and then we move it
Yeah.
between
Yeah.
our this year's. Okay, wow, okay.
in totality, there was money there.
Yeah, it's just, it's
Yeah.
tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We need a motion to approve the transfer as presented totaling $18,000.
so moved, since I made so much
Drew
trouble.
Goffin first, second.
I'll second.
Amy Romanchuk, second. Any other discussion on that? All in favor?
Thank you
Anyone
very much.
opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so that brings us to your enclosures 12.1 is the calendar of events.
Yeah, so, in the immediate future, we've got about, like I said, about a week and a day left of school. We've got the winter concert coming up on Thursday night. One thing that I didn't mention, but I'll mention it now, and it's not a part of the enclosures, but I'm really excited. Tomorrow night, I'll be going to the Bushnell with Carl Jancis, who is our middle school social studies teacher on the inquiry team, who is going to be a part of the recognition event for all of the district's teachers of the year. So as the board knows, this was the first year that we actually did the teacher of the year. I'm super happy that we did it. I'll be going to the Bushnell tomorrow night with Carl because all of the teachers of the year from every district in Connecticut that participates in the program will be recognized. And then, like I said earlier, vacation is right around the corner.
Okay, the student discipline report, enclosure 12.1B.
Yep, so 12 enclosures. So first is the in-school suspensions for the middle school and the high school. And the second one is the out-of-school suspensions for the middle school and the high school.
All right, so do we have a motion to enter into executive session for the purpose of discussing the superintendent's evaluation? And I further request that we invite Dr. Colin McNamara into the executive session. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Scott Soya first, a second. Jessica Hall, second. Any discussion about that? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay. Thank you.